what's the standard you want them to embrace if they truly want to become built different? Not just in competition, but in how they think, prepare, and lead every single day.
Two phrases I use a lot. Either one are my original thoughts, but very important. Number one, control what you can control.
Love that. Okay.
Second phrase will kind of tie into that, but there's so many things that happen that you have no control of. But what can you control? I can control my preparation. I can control my sleep. I can control my work ethic. I can control my attitude. And then B.U.I.L.T, with his passing, which is obviously very sad, he left us with a world of knowledge. One of his favorite things he says is life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. I try to practice that. I tell myself that a lot. And I tell, my kids that, how you react to something matters. And, thinking about before you react. So kind of remembering both of those things, I think are two guideposts that can help all people, not only just student athletes.
Time out. Let me ask you this. What if the gap between where you are today and where you want to be isn't talent? It's how you're training when no one's watching. That's what this studio podcast is all about. We don't chase motivation. We don't hype potential. We build identity through habits, standards, and systems. This is where student athletes, parents, coaches, and leaders come to sharpen how they think, prepare, and perform. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast. Most people think strong athletic departments are built on talent. They're not. They're built on leadership, vision, and the ability to solve problems before they become excuses. All right. What's up, family? Coach Randy here. Welcome to the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we don't just talk about success, we train it. Mindset, systems, habits. This is where champions in school, sport, and life are made. So lock in and let's build. Family, today we've got a leader in the studio who understands that success for student athletes does not happen by chance. It happens when someone is willing to create the right environment for it to happen. Brian Mancuso is the athletic director and activities director at Regina Dominican High School, and he's been leading in education and athletics since 2011. He's taught at both the high school and college level, and what stands out most about Brian is this. He works hard so the people around him, his coaches and student athletes, can achieve great things. And isn't it interesting how the strongest leaders are often the ones doing the unseen work, the planning, the problem solving, the focus that keeps everything moving forward. Brian brings that mindset every day: vision, discipline, service. He's not just overseeing programs, he's helping build a standard. So today, we're talking leadership, we're talking culture, we're talking what it really means to be built different when your job is to help everybody else win. Family, help me welcome Brian Mancuso. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for the introduction. That's very nice. Probably should add a disclaimer that everything we do here is about helping others. It's not about me. It's not about my accomplishments. And I'm not one to ever boast or brag about what I've done.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that's the reason why we want to get you on the show, because you're so humble. And before we dive in, I want to start with you, not your resume, not the highlight reel, you. For everyone listening, tell us who you are, your story, your roots, and the moments that built you. Because again, every champion has a beginning, and I want to hear yours.
So probably to open up by saying I'm not overly athletic. I played baseball.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I tell people when the ball started curving, like the age 12, 13, the game got really hard for me. I loved playing. Would give a lot to go back and play another game of baseball as a kid. These are great memories for me. Friends of lifetime came from that. But I've always loved sport, like the history side of things, the analytical, the organizational, just very organized. So, that kind of started my curiosity. And then, I taught economics primarily for 6 years. And then I kind of knew going into that I wanted to be an athletic director at high school level. And, everything I would say going back to like high school is determined to help me become an athletic director. So every day I would say I did something to help myself wise.
Wow. No, thanks for sharing that. Brian, you spent years in education and athletic leadership. But when was the moment you knew your purpose was bigger than managing schedules and programs, and that you were really called to help coaches and student athletes achieve great things through the environment you build? When did you know that?
As an AD, you have a perception of what a job is, and the organizational side certainly is part of it. The budget side is certainly part of it. I was lucky that I started at a school where I knew the coaches and I had a good idea of what their needs were. I was always,
Okay.
from day one, my goal was to always try to help our coaches and make our coaches' lives easier. And I would say as I've gone on as AD, like I've just added to that. At the beginning, it could be, hey, let's solve this transportation problem. Now it's more, let's establish a culture. Let's look at professional development opportunities. Let's connect you with people
Okay.
who will help
Okay.
you kind of achieve your passion and your dreams as well. And I'd say the same thing for student athletes. Dick Schaap in an interview always talked about that he collected people, and he had all these people he could
Okay.
follow and
Yep.
like,
Yep.
I've sort of, in a positive way. Like, you have a professor you could call, or you could have someone in journalism or TV or a sports writer. And, I've been lucky that I've had a lot of people very willing to help me through my career.
Yeah. No, that service first mindset really stands out. And it says a lot about how you define leadership beyond the title. Right? You talked about helping others win, and that naturally leads to what happens when leadership gets tested in real time. You said one of the biggest lessons is the importance of being a problem solver. So take us into a moment where a real challenge forced you to think clearly, lead decisively, and protect the vision for your coaches and student athletes.
Certainly in the AD profession, you encounter problems by the second, day, minute. I'd
Okay.
say early
Yeah.
on, just something as simple as backing a coach that maybe is facing some community pressure, and then
Yeah.
helping that coach
From the
achieve
parents.
success.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, So, being with your coaches through thick and thin, I always tell people you need to back your coaches because number one, it's the right thing to do, publicly especially, but they're also going to be the ones to save you if there's a crisis immediately. And
Mm.
you want them to be in a good mindset and make quality decisions and feel supported as well.
And that's powerful because pressure has a way of exposing whether we have systems or just good intentions. And if you back your coaches, they're going to back you. I love that. You also mentioned the need to have a vision and stay focused each and every day. So, what are the habits, routines, or leadership systems you rely on to keep your department aligned in your coaches?
We're a single gender, all female school. We have 200 kids in our building.
Okay.
We want our kids to have success beyond
Okay.
high school. Obviously, like everyone else, hopefully that's listening to this. A phrase we kind of use is we help girls rule the world on and off the field. So we want our coaches to
Okay.
obviously embrace
I love that.
leadership and teaching leadership. And working, basically trying to get better every day. From a personal perspective, I try to read, I try to listen, I try to find people who are better than I am in this profession and pick their brain and, look at new platforms, look at new, technologies. How can we use AI? That's kind of the modern thing today. What can we do with AI to help athletic departments? But also, just how to help people as people. What are their interests outside of coaching? And, are there things we can do or stories I have or connections I have that maybe can help them achieve greatness as well?
All right, let's pause right here for a second. I want to ask you something. If nothing changed over the next 6 to 12 months, would your student athlete be more confident, more prepared, closer to their goals, or still hoping things just work out? That's exactly why Athletic Connect is the primary sponsor of this show, because the difference we see, it's not talent, it's structure, it's mindset, it's having a real system. Inside Athletic Connect, we help student athletes build confidence, discipline, and a clear plan from daily habits to performance to creating a digital identity that actually gets noticed by colleges. And this isn't just basketball. This is for student athletes in every sport who are serious about their future in the classroom, on the court, on the field. So here's the move. Go check out athletic.connect.com and see how we're helping athletes become built different in sport, in school, and in life. All right, let's get back to the show. I love that. I love that. The importance of relationships. I love the phrase that you're saying, helping people in any way you can. I like the phrase too of helping girls rule the world on and off the field. Let's put that on a t-shirt, put that phrase on a t-shirt. Yeah, you've taught at both the high school and college level and served as an AD since 2011. Who or what helped shape your leadership philosophy the most? And what lessons from those experiences still guide you or still help you lead today?
I'd say number one is just the ability to work hard. You've never arrived. You always need
Okay.
to get better. And what are doing to get better? I'd say that goes back, second, first grade. I've been very lucky to have people
Mm,
invest in my life, teachers, coaches, athletic administrators, fellow teachers, and traders. The list goes on and on. And I've tried to take something from everyone. And, I've had coaches that I've looked up to and have taken a lot of their ideas and have brought it into what we do at Regina. And, so trying to see what I can and what I can learn. But I'd say the basis of everything we do is we're going to outwork people. And we're going to look at how we use our time or how we can become more efficient with our time usage. And then also understanding the idea that family matters. One thing at Regina, we pride ourselves
love
on
that
is
one.
helping families and helping our own families. And, being an AD in a two-parent working family is something that is very challenging. So I try to bring my kids in. I have a boy and a girl, and we try to get them in our facility and interact with our kids and let people see our kids. And, I think that's something that certainly has been a positive as well.
Well, I love that. Work hard and family matters. You can hear the depth in that. And when those lessons are lived over time, they really start to define the kind of impact you want to have in the next generation and for them to carry forward. For the next generation of student athletes, coaches, and even parents listening right now, what's the standard you want them to embrace if they truly want to become built different? Not just in competition, but in how they think, prepare, and lead every single day.
Two phrases I use a lot. Either one are my original thoughts, but very important. Number one, control what you can control.
Love that. Okay.
And second is will kind of tie into that, but there's so many things that happen that you have no control of. But what can you control? I can control my preparation. I can control my sleep. I can control my work ethic. I can control my attitude. And then Lou Holtz, with his passing, which is obviously very sad, he left us with a world of knowledge. One of his favorite things he says is life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. I
Reacting
try
to
to
that. Yeah.
practice that. I tell myself that a lot. I tell, my kids that, how you react to something matters and, thinking about before you react. And so kind of remembering both of those things, I think they're two guideposts that can help all people, not only just student athletes.
And that right there is the kind of message people need to hear because talent without direction can really only take you so far. And there's a lot of student athletes listening today where they don't really understand that value of or the mindset of control what you can control. And what you shared gives this audience something real to build on long after this conversation ends. Again, I can't emphasize how important it is to control what you can control every day in, day out. Cool. Let me ask you to close. We've talked a lot about mindset, your philosophies, your strategies, your guidance, your tips. Brian, is there anything you want to share with our audience members or listeners? It could be anything that you've already covered. It could be related to the school, the program, your experience, anything you'd like to share, kind of open mic for you.
One thing I always think with parents and student athletes both, they need to think about is you have a coach that's really good and you're really
Okay.
happy with them, tell them that because they probably don't hear the compliments enough. Because obviously we have a coach shortage, we have an official shortage. When we talk
Yep.
about what will end up ruining or being the death of high school athletics is the lack of coaches, lack of officials,
Mm.
or maybe even the lack of quality athletic directors. But if you have someone that is really good and has done a good job with your kid, or has been a transformational leader, I would tell them because I think they need to hear that because they're not hearing it enough. And I'd say the same thing on official. As an AD, are there things you can do to praise officials or make their lives better and show that you value what they do?
That's powerful. Very, very powerful. And just showing the gratitude and how appreciative you are for coaches, more importantly, officials. You struck something there in terms of, I think you're right. The fall of athletics is going to be because of lack of good coaching, lack of good referees. Brian, I appreciate you for sharing your time, your perspective, and your leadership today. This is exactly what Built Different looks like. Family, that was a strong one. Brian didn't just talk about athletic leadership today. He gave us a real blueprint for how great environments are built. Vision, focus, problem solving, and the discipline to show up every day so others can succeed. He reminded us that leadership is not just about being in charge. It's about being responsible for the standard, responsible for the culture, responsible for helping people become more than they thought they could be. Tell the coaches you appreciate them. Tell them, great job, right? And isn't it interesting how the right leader can shift an entire experience for a coach, a student, athlete, and a family? That's what this conversation was really about. So family, if this episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a student athlete, a parent, a coach, or a school leader who needs to hear this message. Because again, what Brian made clear today is simple. In order to accomplish long-term success for student athletes, you need exactly the right mindset, the right structure, and the right support system. In order to solve confusion, pressure, and lack of direction, you need exactly a clear vision, practical guidance, consistent habits, and leadership that knows how to develop the whole athletes. And this is why we have this show. So Brian, thank you again for the work you continue to do, and appreciate everything that you've shared today and the example you set through service, clarity, and consistency. Brian, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
And this is where Athletic Connect comes in. Through tools and services like the Victory Compass, Power Hour, Mindset Mirror, Goal Sync, Fight On Mentality, Built Different Mindset, and the College Pathway Intelligence, athletes and families get more than inspiration. They get a real framework for growth, a framework that helps them gain clarity, develop elite habits, strengthen their mindset, and make smarter moves for the future. If today's episode resonated with you, don't just listen and move on, apply it. Watch and listen to the Built Different Studio Podcast on all major podcast and video platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And if you believe your story, your leadership, or your journey can impact the next generation, visit www.athletic.connect.com. That's with an IQ, and fill out the application to be on the show. This is bigger than content. This is about building champions in school, sport, and life. Handle today with intention. That's how champions are built. Fight on. Remember this, family. Talent might open the door, but your mindset, your habits, and your discipline decide how far you go. So keep showing up, keep building, and keep choosing the harder road, because that's the one that makes you built different. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast.